for Captain Radio.
I am Xavier, son of Count Anton, ruler of Alpha Centauri.
Hello, I'm William McDonald, and I play Captain Radio. Hello!
Hello, William. How are you doing today?
I am doing well.
I'm excited to talk to you about Captain Radio, about your role, about production, and give some of our fans a little taste of the behind the scenes of what went into making the show.
About what went into the show? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, well, let's start small, okay?
Let's start small. Okay, so we're starting small. Yeah, so Johnny contacted me and he was like, hey, I have this script that I want to do. And we've been talking about this for years now. How long has it been since we've been talking about this?
I think it's been over a decade that we've had this running joke that we were going to make a movie called Captain Radio and the Mutant Old People from the 11th Dimension. It's got to be at least 10 years.
At least 10 years. So it's been a while. And basically, he was like, well, hey, let's turn this into a podcast. And I was like, oh, yeah, that sounds great. Because, one, it's expensive to do any sort of production. And two, we don't live in the same place at all. Like, we just don't. And so I really wanted to, since he wrote everything, I really wanted to contribute in some fashion. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get some cast together. I'm going to get marketing done and started getting people in contact for our graphic arts and just kind of getting that going. And Johnny started really pushing hard to find out how to even post anything. So I think that's kind of the first step that we really tackled was like, cool, we got a script. How do we get it out to people?
Yeah, and so you had a really interesting dual role in that you were an actor in this production, but you were also kind of the producer. So you found most of our cast were people that you contacted and reached out to. You did a lot of the back and forth of getting them scripts, getting back their files. It was a very laborious process, and I appreciate you jumping in to make those things happen, because otherwise I don't think this would have gotten off the ground.
Well, I don't know about that.
I mean, it would have taken me 17 years, I think. So let's talk about your process as an actor. When you first read for the character of Captain Radio, who did you think he was? What were your first impressions of who this person was, and how did you approach then, creating the voice, creating the character?
Oh yeah. When I first heard the idea of Captain Radio, I immediately my first instinct was to actually go into the old timey voice, like, stop, you villain, no. And then instead as Johnny was trying to talk to me about it, he was like, do you remember the TV show Flash Gordon? I was like, oh yeah, that's a great one. So I was looking at the Flash Gordon style of things, where it's very cheesy but over the top and very hero of the day. And I said, who better to be over top than David Hasselhoff? And so I was watching a lot of the old TV show Knight Rider. So I'd watch Knight Rider, but I was like, I thought that wasn't enough. So one of the big influences in my life has always been the Muppets. And I went to the Muppets because I remembered they made fun of David Hasselhoff in a sense, but they had a character named David Hogselhoff. And so I would watch David Hasselhoff play, and then I would watch David Hogselhoff overdoing David Hasselhoff. And so it was like doing David in three different ways, and it was just fun. And that's kind of what I was trying to go for.
The Hoff plus Muppets plus space.
Yes.
It's brilliant. I love it.
Captain Radio is more than a man. He's an idea, and you can't kill an idea.
Can you tell me about your process for actually recording? Like, where did you record your lines? How did you do it? And what did you learn along the way?
So I actually started doing audio recording, like voice stuff with voice acting. So I would do, there's a couple books out there that I narrated. We don't want to get into those. It was a children's book. It was my first time, and that was fine. That's where I learned a lot, was on this, and I use a software on my computer. And then I quickly realized things like, hey, every room has an echo, or what is that noise? Like, what is that happening over there? And so right now, even around me, there's a bunch of soundproofing all around me, and it's not fully around me as you can see, but it's just, it helps stop that reflection of the sound waves hitting back and going back to the microphone, and you get this weird echo. I watched a lot of YouTube tutorials of people like, hey, this is what you do to make your audio sound better, and maybe you should try bumping this up and this and that. And then I have a couple friends who are really, really good at audio, and I was like, hey, what am I doing wrong? And they go, oh yeah, so you just want to do this or get rid of that or something like that. So that's where I first started doing all of this, really.
Yeah, and I think of all the, I mean, obviously this is our very first attempt at podcasting, so it was going to be a learning curve, I think, for everyone. But for every member of the cast, your audio, I noticed how quickly it got really, really good, and like how big of a change it is from like episode 1 to like episode 4 is a huge increase in like quality and professionalism, and you definitely have the best setup of everybody. So I'm so glad that you also have the most lines, because they sounded the best.
Oh, good.
As opposed to the rest of us who are under blankets or, like in closets, trying to find some way. Like, I need a quiet space. I need a space that's not going to reflect sound. It's not going to echo. It's harder for some of us.
Yeah. I also have this moving blanket right up here. So I have this little shelf, and then I have a moving blanket that fits over me. And so I'm just like encased, and it gets really hot in here really fast. I have to have a fan on my laptop, otherwise it's just like, it's too hot in here. But
these are the dangers of recording in Texas.
Yes, definitely the dangers
hot.
It's way too hot. I have a fan on right now, and it's not doing enough.
What was your reaction? So, we didn't record all together like some people do. Everyone recorded separately in their own homes, their own closets, under their own moving blankets. And nobody heard the final product until it was all pieced together. So what was your reaction when you first heard that first episode?
I was so excited because just in my process, I tended to record a line 7 or 8 times, and so I hated it. And it was nice to then go back and listen and hear everyone else's lines mixed together, and I was like, oh, this is really great. And every time I listened to it, I'd always have a huge grin on my face, because I was like, look, it's us, we did it, we're making the noise, and we're doing the things, and it doesn't sound like poop like I think it does, and it sounds great. So I was always ecstatic to hear what everyone else did, because we did one read through all together, and then I never got to hear everyone's finalized versions of things. And so I got to hear other people's ways that they were doing their lines, and I get to listen to the sound effects and the music all together, and that was really, really enjoyable.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about the music, because you worked really closely with Bailey Cunningham, who is our composer. Can you talk about the process of getting the music? Because it's so, I'm going to go out, I'm just going to say it's iconic.
I think so too. I think it's really fun. Basically, I went to Bailey and I said, hey, you're a wonderful composer. I don't know if you know this, but Bailey also did some stuff for Broadway musicals.
Yeah.
And so when I approached Bailey, I was like, I don't want to waste your time with this. I knew as soon as I approached them that we needed to be certain. We needed to be like, yes, we are doing this for sure. And basically I said, hey, can you do something along of cheesy action hero type music, like Flash Gordon type of thing? Is kind of what I would tell people in general. Is just like, that's the kind of feeling, like super cheesy, classy superhero, but it's not the superheroes that we see nowadays, especially with some of the movies that are coming out. This is a superhero in the sense of he's just a person. He doesn't have superpowers, didn't have anything like that. He's just a person. And so and Bailey loved this idea and just ran with it.
Yeah, and Bailey did such a fantastic job of capturing the tone of the show, I think, which was amazing considering that like no one had ever heard the show before, but somehow Bailey knew what it sounded like. And as soon as I heard it, I said, oh my God, that's exactly what this is supposed to be. Like, that's how it feels. And so I love it. I hum it all the time. My family's getting tired of hearing it, but I don't think I ever will. Well, I think those are all my questions. I'm so excited to do more Captain Radio. You know, we initially envisioned this as just a 6-part, one-and-done limited series, and the characters were so interesting, and the cast was so good. It was like, well, I can't waste these incredible people that we have. Like, let's do more. Let's deepen these relationships. Let's find out more about Captain Radio and who this person is behind the mask. So I'm excited to go deeper into that world with you.
I am so excited to bring this, to go into that with everyone, and to show people the hard work that we put into and what we find enjoyable. And I hope that everyone else finds enjoyable.
To season 2 and beyond.
To season 2 and beyond.
And other podcasts coming soon from Obscure Studios.
Until next time.
Thank you, Will.
Thank you.
Appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, and love your shirt.
Oh, yes. Captain Radio. Signing off.
There's the voice.
Be sure to check out the adventures of Captain Radio on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get podcasts. In the meantime, you can go like and follow Obscure Studios on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or head over to our website at obscurestudios.net.